Hi, everybody. Welcome to WCAX, our live desk. Streaming show kicks off around 9:15. Today we're talking about some of the recent tariffs that have come down the pike from President Trump, and no better person to talk about that than our Calvin Cutler, specifically on how its potential impact to the state of Vermont. So, Calvin, first of all, thanks for joining us, and welcome back too.
Yeah, very very glad to be back,
Yeah.
and thank you very much for having me, John. It's a busy time for news, I'll tell you.
Oh, absolutely. And jumping right into it here, you talked to a couple experts yesterday, and I'll start with this: the economist you spoke with, and he said he likened it to Vermont as a cork in the ocean, as far as what this goes into. So, kind of just run me through what he meant by that, and how it kind of plays into the economics here.
Yeah, you bet. I mean, the state of Vermont, we've got about a little north of 600,000 people. We have a $9 billion state budget. We are heavily reliant on federal funding. And what Tom Cavett, who's one of the legislative economists, means by that is we are really, in terms of the global economy, imports, exports, Vermont has very little, a tiny, minuscule role in it. And we have very little to no influence over some of these larger world events. And right now, there's still a lot of uncertainty. I'm probably going to say that word maybe 4 or 5 times during this interview here, but there's so much uncertainty right now as to what these tariffs and the knock-on effects potentially could mean for individual states or states like Vermont. Vermont right now, as I mentioned, we're a small rural state in New England. We have about $3 billion in imports from China, Mexico, and Canada, thinking all kinds of products. And there's other products in other countries as well, but those are the three big
Yeah.
ones. But we export about $800 million in dairy products, cheese, um, paper, lumber, semiconductors, microchips, that type of thing from global foundries. So
Yeah.
that's really sort of the base of our economy. But these tariffs, as we've talked so much about and have read a lot about, have been announced by the Trump administration last week, and they're aimed at a number of policy outcomes, everything from reshoring manufacturing jobs, bringing and trying to make companies set up new shops in the United States, but also to try to strike more fair trade deals with the United States, with some countries, but also other things like stemming the flow of fentanyl at the southern border. So there's a lot of these tariffs are being used for a number of policy outcomes, and it just still really remains to be seen as to what exactly it will mean, what this reshaping of the global economy will mean for Vermonters. But economists largely say that there is going to be this will, in at least in the near term, lead to higher inflation, increased costs on products that we are importing here to Vermont, and that still remains to be seen. But
Yeah.
it's playing out in a really dynamic way every single day in Washington D.C. and on the
Yeah.
world stage, and especially as the stock market has really taken a huge nosedive over the past few days. We'll have to see where it goes from here.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Definitely, leading pretty much every single headline when you come in. I'm looking at our four monitors just to my right of me, and it's all that. So, but I think with this, and I know you said you're gonna say that word uncertainty a lot here this morning. A lot of people are concerned for their personal finances and what basically how far their dollar is going to stretch them. And you also talked to another guy, this guy Dan Cunningham. He's a financial advisor in Burlington. What was some of his advice as far as people who are, maybe attaching themselves to these headlines saying, oh man, I'm really, really concerned about my own money?
Yeah, it is. And he really talked about the psychology ultimately
Yeah.
at the end of the day of your money, where you invest, how you invest, and the knee-jerk reaction that some might have to pull out your investments in the stock market. It can be really scary when, especially if you're around retirement age or you are retiring and you see the stock market lose 2,000 points in the NASDAQ or the S&P 500, that is. And he said that could be a real
Yeah.
scary thing. But he said, the with economics, it's a science, and it's important to try to detach your emotions from your financial calculus. Basically, trying to not act rash on things that you're reading on social media or news that's playing out in the headlines. I mean, even just yesterday, we saw, because of a single tweet or a post on the social media platform X, the stock market was fluctuating wildly. And so he said, trying to tune out some of the noise and focus on what you can focus on as a consumer. And that is, number one, where you're spending your money, what you're buying at the grocery store, or what products and goods and services you're spending your money on, but also, if you are invested in the stock market, where you're investing. Are you putting it in cryptocurrencies? Are you putting in bonds or stocks? And are you diversifying? And so he said that those are two areas that we can control as Vermonters, and to try to prepare for what could be next. And again, we don't know. There's so much that's outside of
Yeah.
our understanding here of where this train is headed. But their big advice to Vermonters, that are concerned about their personal finances, is just lock in, try
Stay the
to
course,
maintain a
yeah.
clear head, and detach and decouple emotions from
Yeah.
your financial decisions, and really try to be calculated and thoughtful.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think it's, aside from this, even some more sound financial advice for really anybody. But Calvin, I guess that's for us here. We'll air that. We'll air your pack in just a sec, just to give people a better idea. I do have a quick question though. So at the State House today, there is the March Madness bracket contest. It's between legislators, the press corps, and all that. Are you involved in that?
No, not this year. I was
Yeah.
2 years ago, but I have not been involved. But that's always a fun sort of March Madness sort of inside the State House. A lot of camaraderie and friendly rivalries that
Yeah.
are that develop
We
with that. It's led by Chittenden Representative Jim Harrison, who
Yeah.
sets it up every single year. And the beauty of it is, sometimes there's people really that follow March Madness, sometimes religiously, and are big fans of basketball, and then you'll have other people that don't tune in at all, but
They
hey,
did a random pick, and maybe
throw,
they
throw
do
down a
well.
few bucks and they run away with it. A lot of the proceeds also go to charity as well,
Yeah.
so it is for a good cause.
Yeah, no, I didn't ask because we had it this morning, and I know, that back. I was like, I was wondering if he's in on it, but it sounds like it's a lot of fun. So, anyway, thanks, Calvin. We'll show this in just a sec, and glad to have you back.
Thank you very much, John. Good to be back.
Yeah, I'll see you. Again, that was our Calvin Cutler there, back on the Eister desk, and in some time for a while. So, good to see him. I'm stuck in Zoom.
The tariffs on foreign imports announced last week plunged stocks.
We're kind of a cork in the ocean when it comes to broader economic currents.
Vermont imports around $3 billion in goods from foreign markets like China, Canada, and Mexico, and exports some $800 million in semiconductors, dairy, and paper. Economists tell us the tariffs will likely raise prices on food, energy, and consumer goods in the coming weeks.
The uncertainty that exists now is just at stratospheric levels. Nobody knows from day to day what's going to happen.
The Trump administration's tariffs are aimed at, in part, growing the U.S. domestic economy.
They have to pay tariffs because otherwise we have a surplus, and they have a surplus with us that is not sustainable.
They say the tariffs are sparking renegotiated trade deals with over 50 countries, and that the process will likely take time.
From a financial level, this is very different than the others.
Monday, stock exchanges around the world plunged into the red, sparking concerns from businesses and from Vermonters who are watching their savings. Burlington-based financial advisor Dan Cunningham says it's important not to panic from slumping stocks and global geopolitics, which is out of our control.
You want to really decouple emotions from investing as much as possible, and that is very easy to say and that is very hard to do.
But he says you can control your personal expenses and where your personal portfolio is invested if you can invest in the stock market.
That sounds very strange and it feels very uncomfortable when you're buying into bad news. But if you're in the buying phase of investing, that's an important thing to keep in mind.
Some great work there from our Calvin Cutler. Of course, you can see that on WCAX.com. We're going to keep covering this as it's keep going on. So, but Peter, wanted to touch base with you because it's snowing outside.
Yeah.
And it's April 8th. Now, a year ago, I was at the Burlington airport for the Eclipse. I'm pretty sure I got a sunburn. I had like the raccoon kind of outline around my eyes because I had the glasses on and was just doing this the whole time. So now it's much different out. That was probably like, what, 50, 60 last year?
Yeah,
I don't remember.
I think we were in the 50s and 60s. Yeah, we were pretty warm. I mean, I was in St. Johnsbury for the Eclipse coverage out there, and, pretty warm. And, boy, did we luck out last year with blue skies and sunshine.
Lucky it's not this year.
We're very lucky it's not this year because pretty cloudy, hanging on to a few snow showers out there this morning. And as you mentioned, April 8th. And here we are, a few snow showers on satellite and radar right now. The bulk of the snow showers have now pushed off to the east. I wanted to show you road conditions out there. Not looking too bad in the Champlain Valley right now, primarily wet. In Route 2 in the Champlain Islands, Colchester, I-89, not looking too bad. And even into the Northeast Kingdom, they had a few slick spots earlier, but Derby, Cabot right now not looking too bad. Waterbury, Bethel, just wet roadways down there. Similar situation across the southern portions of the area. A few of the higher elevation spots could potentially still feature a little bit of slick travel, but that high April sun angle, even if it is behind the clouds, going to kind of help alleviate much in terms of road concerns here for the rest of the day today. Speaking of the rest of the day, here's how it shapes up. We hang on to a few scattered snow showers here from time to time, but generally becoming a bit more confined to the higher elevations here through the second half of the day today. Tonight, maybe a few leftover snow showers. That's exactly how we'll start off your day tomorrow as well. A few leftover light snow showers, generally reserved here for the higher terrain spots, but as we head through the rest of the day, for the most part, I think it's a mixture of sunshine and clouds here through the course of your day on Wednesday. We start to warm things up here as well. In terms of additional snow accumulation, really for the most part, a lot of us now over and done with the accumulation. A trace maybe up to an additional inch or two, but you'll notice there are still some higher pockets, the Adirondacks, the northern spine of the Green Mountains, even the higher terrain of the Northeast Kingdom could potentially pick up an additional couple inches. Really, the bulk of the heavier accumulation going to be reserved here for the northern spine of the Greens, which could potentially pick up an additional 4 to 8. Also, you're going to notice the wind here at times today, at times gusting upwards of 20 to 30 miles per hour, starting to diminish, though, as we head towards tonight and into your day tomorrow. But one thing that breeze is going to do is it means it's going to feel pretty chilly out there. As a matter of fact, talking wind chills stuck in the 20s here through the day ahead. So wind chills in the 20s, actual air temps, they'll climb back into the 30s. We continue to hang on to a few of those scattered snow showers here from time to time today. Tonight, overnight lows, take a look at that. Teens and 20s out there, partly cloudy skies overhead. Maybe a few leftover snow showers here to start off your day tomorrow, but temperatures for today going to climb back into the upper 30s and lower 40s. That's still a bit below where we should be for this time of year, but warmer as we head towards the second half of the work week. A bit more cloud cover for Thursday. Chance of a few rain and snow showers Thursday night. Friday, all rain out there, or a few rain showers out there just because temperatures are climbing back into the 50s. And guess what? Once again, it does look like the weekend could be on the wetter side of things, especially the first half of the weekend. Temperatures are in the upper 40s and lower 50s, pretty close to where we should be for this time of year, but it comes along with those rain showers, maybe a little bit of sunshine, and we'll squeeze out some warmer temps here as we head towards the start of next week.
Yeah, we're going. I mean, I like that we're heading back. We're at 39, we're in the 40s, and then we kind of just gradually go right back up. It's really not bad.
Yeah, so it's kind of today the one wintry day out there. Then we're starting to climb back into those early spring conditions and those April rain showers making their return here as well.
At least what I like about this, too, is there's not a lot of refreezing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? A lot of times when we get like a 39, go up to 50, and then the next day it's all ice.
Yeah.
And it crunches over, and it's no good. So, Anyway, but yeah, some good news on the horizon, and free cone day today.
Free
too.
cone day. If you want to go wait outside in the cold, you can do that.
Yeah, tough it out. How bad do you want it? Is the question for that. But
I don't know that wind chills in the 20s really makes me want it that badly, but
yeah, maybe we got to use some strategy here, Peter.
Okay.
Because you and I, we get out a little earlier.
That is true.
We're getting out during business hours.
That
You
is
gotta think
true.
5 p.m. hits. It's no go.
what I would say though is we also
Yeah.
we also get out at people's lunchtime.
Yeah, but I mean, how many people do you think are going to sacrifice lunches, make ice cream at lunch? You know, I don't know. So we'll report back.
Yep.
Anyway, thanks, Peter.